Welcome. This is the new episode of the marketing meeting, and today my guest is myself. The reason of the solo podcast is that I would like to also give myself a chance to speak and share my experiences too. I will still have guests on this podcast, but time to time I would like to explore this new path of doing solo podcasting too. I'll keep this episode short, not because that I'm too conscious of your time, but because that I'm very stressed out and I would like to finish this episode as soon as possible. Um, Doing a solo podcast is a weird experience. I did 25 episodes with a guest. And when you have a guest, it's easy, it's a conversation, it's a discussion. I ask questions. If I cannot speak properly, I just throw the ball to the guest and let them handle the conversation. But here, I'm looking to a camera. I'm trying not to look to myself on the camera, on the screen. And I'm also checking the notes so that I don't miss anything. But, they say that it's all about practice, right? So I'm going to try a few times and let's see how it goes. So, as the concept of this video is about going solo, I have a question. I have a few questions actually to ask you. And this podcast episode is all about what are the questions you should ask yourself before going solo at work. So what are the questions that you should be answering before deciding to go solo at work? Solo employment, self-employment is a very tempting career. I got this question asked a lot from friends, from young people, but it's not for everyone, I can tell you. I worked 20 years at a big global company, and for the last 5 years, I'm doing my own business. And some mornings I wake up and I just wish I'm working for a corporate company and I just get paid at the end of the month, no matter what my performance is, right? So before you burn the bridges with your current employer, please ask a few of these questions to yourself and reflect on it, okay? So question number 1, why do you want to work solo? I'm repeating again because this is the most important question. Why do you want to work solo? I know this feels a bit like a psychiatric question, but it's a very important one to answer because if the reason that you want to go solo is about because you are tired or you are frustrated at work or you are just angry with your current boss, then you should revisit, okay? You should just wait. I went to a sabbatical break before I left my long years job at Nike. And I know that everyone doesn't have this opportunity to take a sabbatical break. Mine was like 6 weeks. But at least give yourself some time to rest, to reflect. It shouldn't be just because you are angry to your boss that you just want to go solo, right? I mean, there should be like a real reason that you want to pursue this path. And the second question after that, you need to, look for answers is, do you have energy and passion for what you do? In order to sustain working solo, you have to love what you do. Otherwise, it's not going to continue for so long because especially at the first years, I mean, I'm at my 5th year and I still feel the same. You have to do lots of work. You have to really wake up and work. And during the weekends, you should work. It's not like, you have to be working 7/24, but it takes a lot of the mental space and also, physical time as well. I mean, you cannot sustain something that you don't like, okay? Just make sure the topic that you select for your solo work is a topic that you like. And then the third question that you should ask is, how disciplined are you? This is a tricky one because most people, when they decide to take this path, they think that, okay, I'm going to work my own, so I will definitely motivate myself and I will definitely be quite disciplined. But that's not the case, I can tell you. I can tell you this because I'm a very disciplined person, extremely disciplined person, waking up at latest 6 o'clock every morning, including weekends, including holidays. And even I find it really hard to sustain. Because when you work with an employer, even if your performance fails for a few months or maybe up to a year or 2 years, you still get paid, right? If you are sick, you still get paid. But with your job, if you are doing your job, your job is 100% you, right? So that's why you have to really find ways to self-motivate and discipline yourself, and you have to really think twice about this question, just like you think twice for the other questions as well. So we are almost there. Question number 4 is, can you sell and can you convince people? You can be the best in your job. You can be the best graphic designer. You can be the PR pro, the best brand marketing person, whatever. But you also have to do some other stuff, like selling your business or services to some other people, to the client, potential clients, talking with your accountant, managing finances. I hope you have lots of finances to manage so that you have the chance to, grow in this area. But of course, at the beginning, you cannot sell and convince easily. It takes some time to feel really comfortable on that. But if you are like a introvert that doesn't want to talk about money or that doesn't want to, meet with people, this is not for you, I can tell you, because you have to convince the clients, you have to sell your services, and you have to also be comfortable of asking money for your services. And last question is that you have to ask yourself before you go solo: do you have enough money to finance your life at least for 6 months? Be aware of the unexpected costs because, for example, when COVID hit, I was on my second year of my solopreneur life, and the business was ramping up. It was going really good, but in one day, everything stopped, and it stopped literally for 11 months. I didn't have any invoices. Luckily, it was COVID, and the money that I spent for myself was very little. I was in our house. I was not spending so much money to our living. But 11 months of not working doesn't mean that you don't pay any taxes. Your company doesn't have any payments. It's not the case. I mean, in my case, for example, in my country, the government still asked me to pay some of the taxes, although I didn't have any invoice at all, which I didn't knew. So what I'm trying to say is just be aware of the unexpected costs. Be realistic about your finances. Ideally, you should be able to support yourself for at least 6 months, maybe for a year. So yeah, this is the episode, and I hope you ask 5 of these questions to yourself, if not at least the first question, which is like why you are going solo, which is one of the most critical one. I hope this episode helps at least one person to reevaluate their decision to work solo, or maybe to motivate themselves to go solo, because the answers to these questions are really positive. I don't know. What are some of the things that I can answer at this podcast when I try the solo podcasting? So I hope you still made till the last minute of this podcast, and then let me and help me answer those questions, because I would like to know what are some of the things that I can answer. It can be about marketing, which is my biggest job, which is the reason of my solopreneur life. It can be about marketing, strategy, about going solo, or it can be just about having a drink in New York City, or the best places for coffee or work while you are in New York City, or maybe in Istanbul too, because that's the hometown also. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this first episode of the solo podcast. Bye.